subject of thought on my mind, heart, is about being content. What does content? How would you describe? Somebody tell me, how would you describe? Huh?
That's what I would think. Satisfied.
Satisfied. That's the best that I come up with was satisfied. There's many other things that if you don't want anything else, you know, that's when you're satisfied. Turn to Philippians chapter 4. Brother Berger, will you read 8 to 11 and think about being satisfied or content with what you got?
Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there will be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things. Those things which ye have both learned and received and heard and seen in me do, and the God of peace shall be with you. But I rejoice in the Lord greatly, that now at the last the care of me hath flourished again, within ye were also careful, but ye lack opportunity. Not that I speak in respect of want, for I have learned, and whatsoever state I am, therewith to be content.
Well, I think a lot of whatsoever there ain't it? Whatsoever this and that and other things are pure, honest, and so forth. But verse 10, he tells us, Paul, he tells us he was content. He tells us to rejoice in the Lord always. Verse 11, he tells all the circumstances he had learned, and he says that to be satisfied or content in whatever state you're in. Now, a few years ago, I was at Jerry J's and seen Brother Durrance. Y'all know Durrance, pastor over there.
Donnie.
Yeah, Donnie Durrance from Brother Billy. I think it was at Jerry J's, if I remember right. But I told myself, I'm going to try to teach about being content in whatever state you're in. Be content. And I think it was Brother Billy said, well, it's Alabama, Georgia, Illinois. I said, no, not that state. He said, you got to be content in all of them. So you do. You have to be content wherever. And Paul's saying, it don't matter. I've learned wherever I'm at, be content or be satisfied. Now, it's not easy to be satisfied all the time, is it? Verse 11, Paul was telling them all the circumstances that he went through and this, that, and the other. I don't know if he was in prison at this point or not. I know Paul was put into prison many times, and he may have been, I believe Paul might have been in jail, but you know, if he was in prison back then, that was it's not like prison today like Jake worked in. Jake works in a prison over in Jessup, but they treat them like gold over there. To be honest with you, they take care of their dental work. If they get sick, they take them to Savannah. They got better. Prisoners over there in Jessup have it better than we do a lot of times. I can't even get dental insurance. Of course, I don't need it now, but back when I could, we can't. The prisons are just different. Back in the 1800s and all that, they would beat them, starve them, shackle them up in a dark dungeon, to my understanding. And Paul had been in and out of that, but he had learned to be satisfied or content right where he was at. And he teaches us a valuable lesson. In Philippians 4:13 says, I can do all things with Christ which strengthens me. Did Paul, when he was in jail and was beaten and mocked and ridiculed for preaching, did he need strength from the Lord? He did. And that's what he depended on, he was satisfied the way he was. He believed that Jesus would take care of him, and I believe Jesus takes care of us. I'm content in the fact that I'm satisfied to know that Jesus takes care of us wherever we are at, in any situation at all, prison or wherever. You know, I said we get discontented sometimes or discouraged with what we have sometimes. if you went and bought a brand new car or anything new, it doesn't take you long to not be content with it. You're satisfied with it to start with, and it's the best thing that's ever happened to you. I've seen things I wanted and I had to have them. That commercial, you've seen it on TV, that woman standing there and she saw a couch and she said, I got to have it. And then it shows later on about two crooks. Y'all may have seen it, may not. And two crooks is there, and one of the crooks describes what it was, and all of the other crook says, I got to have it. Well, that's the way we are. We got to have it. And when we get it, I know when I bought my brand new lawnmower, and I know I'm getting out left field a little bit, but you know what I did with that brand new lawnmower the first day after I cut the yard with it? I put it in the garage, locked it up, had it covered over, and locked it up. Now you know where it stays half the time now? Out in the yard in the rain. It don't matter if it snows or whatever, but I was content and satisfied with it, and I didn't want nothing else to take place of it at that moment. But that's the way that's the way we are. Things get old, and they get old quick. So we become dissatisfied. New jobs, new house, new car, whatever you got. But we're not content all the time. Well, I thought about that, and I got thinking about the children of Israel. We study a lot about the children of Israel, what they did. And the children of Israel, were they content sometimes?
Really?
Sometimes they were, but rarely, as Brother David said. If you go back to the book of Exodus, you'll see that Exodus 14, 15, and 16, if you'll study up on them, you'll find out, well, when they come out of bondage, what did God send them?
Manna?
Manna from on high, didn't they? They didn't have to go hungry, and they were content for a little while. They were satisfied for a little while, wasn't they? But then as time grew on, they got dissatisfied. They got discontented. And what happened? They said, we want to go back to Egypt. Now what does Egypt represent to us?
World?
The world itself. A lot of times we want to go back to Egypt or the world. We are satisfied, we're content for a few moments. And then we want to go back to the world. Well, that's what the children of Israel, they wanted to go back. They said, there were onions. And you like onions, don't you?
I do.
He loves onions. Brother David, I called him several times, eating just a raw onion. Well, he's satisfied for a few moments eating those raw onions. Well, that's what the children of Israel, they said, we want to go back to Egypt, where there's leeks and onions and all these things. And you know what? There wasn't any graves there in Egypt. What a big lie Satan put on them. Were they graves in Egypt? This graveyard here is full, basically, about. It won't hold many more years, but there'll always be another one. So they said there aren't even any graves in Egypt. Well, we know good and well there were graves in Egypt, but the devil, that's the way he works on. He wants to get you not to be content in what the Lord has left you with. Whatever state you're in, and that word state means condition. Condition. It don't mean Utah or, like I said before, but that state is a condition. And Paul said, I've learned whatever state or condition I'm in, therefore be content. Well, we have troubles in our life. That's the state sometimes we have. We have illness, we have sickness, we have deaths in the family, we have all kinds of troubles and problems and storms in life. But even that, whatever state, whatever situation you're in, be content, be satisfied. Israel wasn't satisfied. They wanted to go back. Turn to Proverbs chapter 30. Janice, I'm reading, I think it's 30:15. If I remember right. I want you to think about 4 things I want us to look at here that we're, the way we get sometimes, and this describes the whole situation. Proverbs 30, I think it's verse 15. I don't even have it down here.
There are three things that never satisfy.
Yeah, that's it. Will you read that, Brother David? Genesis 30, 15, start with 15.
The horseman had $2, cried, give, give. There are three things that are never satisfied, yea, four things say not, it is enough. The grave, the barren womb, the earth that is not filled with water, and the fire that saith not, it is enough.
Well, you think about this fire. I was looking on the internet yesterday at the fire. They're evacuating a lot of people in Folkestone because of the fire. And you can pull it up on the internet and see where the fire is, and it's right there, and big fire. And that fire started off small. I mean, you can take one little old match and strike it, or a cigarette or something, throw it out in some dry it's thin, and it says it catch on fire. And then that fire wants more, doesn't it? It's never satisfied with that little fire. The fire itself gets bigger. Well, what does it want more? And it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. It's never satisfied. And you can think about your life. You're like that fire. You start off with a little leaven, and leaven's the whole lump, it says. A little sin gets bigger and bigger and bigger, doesn't it? That's like that fire. That fire gets bigger. The grave is never full. The barren womb, it says. A woman with barren womb, they always want children, wanting more and more. We always want more. We're dissatisfied. The water, the earth is never full of water. It's not satisfied. Well, that's the way our lives are. We're never satisfied unless you have Jesus in your heart. Let's go to, well, let me just mention this. Proverbs 3:13 is one of my favorite scriptures in all the Bible. It teaches us, it says, happy. Now, if you're discouraged, you're not happy, are you? It says, and happy is the man that findeth wisdom and getteth understanding. What does that mean? Does that mean because you're real smart, you can be happy? That happy is the man that findeth wisdom. That wisdom is God or Jesus. And that's the only way you're going to be content or satisfied and you'll have peace and you'll rest in your heart is by looking to God and His Word and have wisdom. And that's what makes you happy. Turn to Ecclesiastes chapter 2. This is all, we're going to read it, but it's kind of lengthy, but I think you get the picture better if we read it all. David, you haven't read it. Read Ecclesiastes 2, 1 through 11. And he sums up everything in the first 11 verses with the last verse is in 12th chapter, verse 30. It says, fear God, keep His commandments. That's what's going to make you happy and satisfied and content. All right, go ahead.
I said in mine heart, go to now, I will prove thee with mirth, therefore enjoy pleasure, and behold, this also is vanity. I said of laughter, it is mad, and of mirth, what doeth it? I sought in my heart to give myself unto wine, yet acquainted mine heart with wisdom, and to lay hold on folly, till I might see what was that good for the sons of men, which they should do under the heavens all the days of their life. I made me great works. I builded me houses. I planted me vineyards. I made me gardens and orchards. I planted trees in them of all kinds of fruits. I made me pools of water, to water wherewith the wood that bringeth forth trees. I got me servants and maidens. I had servants born in my house also. I had great possessions of great and small cattle above all that were in Jerusalem before me. I gathered me also silver and gold, and the particular treasure of kings and of provinces. I gat me men singers and women singers, and the delights of the sons of men as musical instruments, and that of all sorts. So I was great, and increased more than all that were before me in Jerusalem. Also my wisdom remaineth with me, And whatsoever mine eyes desired, I kept not from them. I withheld not my heart from any joy, that my heart rejoiced in all my labor. And this was my portion of all my labor. Then I looked on all the works that my hands had wrought, and on the labor that I had labored to do. And behold, all was vanity and vexation of spirit, and there was no profit under the sun.
Solomon here, he tried everything, didn't he? He had to have it. Just like that commercial. I had it. He had to have him some singers. Well, he got some singers, and they sung beautiful, I'm sure. But, well, he got old to him. So then he went and built him a vineyard. He grew some grapes with the Lord's help. All that passed. Everything that Brother David just read is saying, I'm not satisfied. I'm not content at all. I'm not satisfied at all. So I got to do this now. And so that's the way we are in our lives. We don't want to admit it, but that's the way we are. You got to have something every day new come to you. And I told Brother David about, I wanted to sing the song to start with. It's in the hymn 455, wasn't it, David? I want you to listen to these words and think about in 455. It's talking about being satisfied. 455 says this: I am satisfied with Jesus. He has done so much for me. Are we content? Well, do we ever think about how much God has done for us? He's done for me. He suffered to redeem me. He died to set me free. What else do we need? Jesus has, he said, I am satisfied. Are you satisfied with me? Are we satisfied with Jesus? Most of the time, we're not. He's not 100% satisfied by us, because those leeks and onions and world and all these things come, and then Satan draws us over there to them, and then we're not being content with Jesus. We're not satisfied with Jesus. So we finally come to the point we need to repent and turn back to Him, and then Jesus will be satisfied with you. I am satisfied. I thought about that rich man that many times over in Luke. He said, take heed and beware of covetousness, for man's life consisteth not of abundance of things which he possesses. Oh, I want everything. I'm not satisfied, but that's not what I possess. And the pleasures of this world, the Bible teaches, is what gets us uncontent or discontent. Proverbs 15:16, it says, it's better to have a little bit, just a small amount. Listen to this in Proverbs 15:16. It says, better is little with fear of the Lord than great treasures and trouble therewith. Just a little bit, better just to have a small amount. Better is to have a little with fear of the Lord than great treasures and trouble within. Over in Timothy 6:6-8 says, but godliness with contentment is great gain. For we brought nothing into this world, and it's certain we carry nothing out. And having food and raiment, therefore therewith be content. Every good gift that God gives us cometh down, says in James 1:17. Every blessing coming down from us. We need to be content in Jesus, content in the Lord, and be satisfied. There's a lot of scriptures that I can read. I'll just pick out a couple, but I want you to think about it. 1 Timothy 6:6, if you take a notice, it says, but godliness with contentment is great gain. Great gain. Psalm 22:26, the meek shall eat and be satisfied, or content, and they shall praise the Lord and to seek Him. In your heart you shall live forever. Philippians 4:19, but my God shall supply what? all your needs according to the riches and glory by Jesus Christ. Be content with what you got. We feed those little birds at home, the squirrels and possums and everything else comes on. But they're just as content to be with that food out there in the backyard. And I watch them, and we watch them every day. We seen one little bird that couldn't fly. He'd fly about here to that, well, not even here to that chair. And he'd hold his little wings up, and mama would keep coming checking on him. And he never did fly. I was gonna get him and put him up, but I got thinking, well, nature takes its course. I'll let it go. If he makes it, good. But he was trying his best to be, he was content to do what his mama was telling him. He was satisfied, and he'd do like she would do. And that's why they took off and little bird went somewhere and hid back in the building. But we need to be content, satisfied with whatever state that we're in. There's one or two more I want to just read here. Says over in Psalm 17:45, as for me, that's you and I will behold thy face in righteousness. I shall be satisfied when I wake with thy likeness. Be satisfied. The devil's going to tell you not to be satisfied. He wants you on his side. But his side will destroy your life. He's a liar, he's a murderer, he's a thief, and he does not want you to be satisfied with Jesus. Does anybody got anything you want to say?
I think in all of our lives, we constantly are wanting things. Want this, want that, want the other. And like you said, worldly things does not satisfy the Spirit of God in us.
No,
It takes spiritual things to satisfy that Holy Spirit in us. When we were born again, God gave us His Holy Spirit, and we begin to value spiritual things.
Oh, yeah.
And there's just nothing that this world can
Can
give us
offer
that's
up.
nothing. I'd love to have a brand new Harley Davidson motorcycle. And you know how long I'd be happy with it?
Not long.
Not long. Once it's not new, it's old. And we're not going to be satisfied. And if we could just learn to think and reason the scriptures before we jump and buy everything that we want, we'll be a lot more satisfied with what we got. We don't have to have everything the world offers.
That's right. That's why I was talking about my brand new lawnmower. It didn't last long in the garage.
Yep.
It was getting wet and rusted up. You remember, a lot of us in here, some of you don't remember, but a lot of us in here remember the preacher, Buckaloo. Y'all remember him? And Brother David, Brother Billy, a lot of times I go out there and he'd be sitting at the door, but he was content. He was a contented man. He was blind. He was in a wheelchair. He had preached for years and years, to my understanding, in a pretty good sized church. He was well educated, had a lot of wisdom. He had a lot of happiness, just like Proverbs 3:13 says, he had the wisdom that made him happy, and that was in God. And Buckaloo was sitting there in that chair, and he was content in the state that he was in. Would you and I be like that? If you were blind, in a wheelchair, couldn't see, possibly couldn't hear, would you be content? Well, he was, and you could see it on his face, because he knew Jesus. And that's the only reason he was content. This world didn't matter to him. Well, this world, the Bible tells us, and we use the verses over and over, don't love the world, but love God with all your heart, soul, and mind. And then you'll be content in the Lord. Brother David, dismiss.